Success can be the beginning of your downfall, the dream you've been chasing for years, the goal you think about every single day, the thing you've sacrificed sleep for, relationships for, maybe even your health for. That exact thing might be what slowly destroys you. And this is not a motivational speech. It's the opposite. This is the part nobody really wants to talk about. And today, we're going to talk about it. Let's start with a simple question. Why do people become so obsessed with success in the first place? Not just, I want to achieve something, not just, I have goals. I mean, truly obsessed. The kind of obsessed where you think about it from morning to night, where you can't slow down, you can't relax, and you can't even enjoy the moment without that little voice in your head asking, okay, what's next? Most of the time, this kind of obsession isn't really about ambition. It goes deeper than that. Sometimes it comes from a deep need to finally feel seen. If someone didn't get much approval growing up, they might spend their whole adult life trying to earn it through achievements. Sometimes it comes from fear, the fear of becoming nothing, the fear of being invisible, the need to prove that you're actually worth something. And this is where the trap begins. Because when you're not chasing the thing itself, but what it will make people think of you, you've already stepped into the wrong game. You may not realize it yet, but part of you already knows. Psychologists often talk about two kinds of motivation, the kind that comes from within and the kind that comes from outside validation. Internal motivation is when you do something because it actually means something to you. You enjoy the process. You feel connected to it. It gives you energy. External motivation is when you're driven by rewards, status, recognition, or other people's approval. And here's the interesting part. When external motivation starts taking over, your work starts to suffer. Not right away. At first, you can still ride the momentum. You can still keep going because of the drive you had in the beginning, but slowly, something changes. Creativity fades. You start making safer choices. Risk feels scarier than it used to because now you have something to lose. And the person who used to be hungry, bold, and fearless slowly becomes someone who's just trying not to lose what they already have. But let's go back to the idea from the beginning. Success can be the beginning of your downfall. Greg McKeown, the author of Essentialism, once asked a simple but uncomfortable question. Why don't successful people and successful companies automatically become even more successful? Logically, they should. They have more resources, more experience, more opportunities, but very often, the opposite happens. Success becomes the beginning of decline. And the reason is simple but painful. When nobody knows you, you can make mistakes in private. But when everyone is watching, it can feel like people are just waiting for you to mess up. The pressure gets bigger, the expectations get bigger, and slowly, you stop playing to win. You start playing not to lose. And that is a completely different game, and it's almost impossible to win. There's also something people don't talk about enough, the difference between achievement and success. At first, they seem like the same thing, but they're not. Achievement is something you can point to. You wrote a book. You built a business. You ran a marathon. It happened. It's real, no matter what anyone thinks. But success is something you feel. And here's the strange part. You can have dozens of achievements and still not feel successful for even one day because the feeling of success keeps moving. You reach one goal and almost immediately, the bar gets higher. Your brain adapts to the new level so quickly that the thing you once dreamed about starts to feel normal. There's a name for this: hedonic adaptation. And honestly, it's one of the cruelest tricks your mind can play on you. Imagine someone who spends years dreaming about a certain level of income. They keep telling themselves, once I make that much money, I'll finally be happy. I'll finally relax. I'll finally enjoy my life. And then they get there. So, what happens? For the first few weeks, it feels amazing, maybe even euphoric. But then it gets quiet, and a new thought appears. I need more. Not because they're greedy, not because they're a bad person, but because the brain works that way. It always looks for the next level. And if you don't understand that mechanism, you can end up trapped in a race that has no finish line. And this is where the dark side of chasing success really starts to show. Relationships don't usually fall apart overnight. they fade slowly. At first, you're just busy. Then you call less. Then you stop being fully present. And one day, you realize you missed important moments. Maybe not physically, but mentally. You were there, but your mind wasn't. Your body was in the room, but your thoughts were somewhere else. Work, goals, money, pressure, the next thing, the next step, the next version of yourself you still haven't become. Your health goes the same way, slowly, quietly. At first, you just sleep a little less. Then anxiety starts to feel normal. Then comes burnout, that state where you wake up in the morning and you don't even have energy for the things that used to make you feel alive. And the scariest part is that you start losing yourself. The thing you once loved starts to feel like a burden. Your passion turns into pressure. The thing that once gave you energy starts to feel like something you have to survive. And one day, you wake up and realize you don't even remember why you started. Psychologists who studied happiness and productivity said that the happiest and most effective people are not the ones constantly chasing success. They are the ones who enter a state of flow, complete immersion in the process itself, not for the result, not for recognition, not to prove anything to anyone, but because the work itself actually matters to them. And, ironically, those are often the people who achieve extraordinary results, because they're not wasting all their energy worrying about how they look from the outside. Their energy goes into the work. So, what do we do with all of this? Does it mean being obsessed with your goals is always bad? No. The difference is where that obsession comes from. If you're obsessed because you genuinely love what you do, that can be fuel. But if you're obsessed because you're terrified of being nothing, or because you constantly need approval, then it becomes poison. And maybe the most important thing you can do is stop from time to time and honestly ask yourself, why am I doing this? Is this really mine? Or am I just living out someone else's expectations? Because success built on someone else's values is not real success. It's a beautiful cage. Obsession with success can be the most powerful fuel in your life, but it can also be the thing that quietly destroys you from the inside while everything looks perfect on the outside. And the difference between those two paths often comes down to one thing: whether you know why you're doing it.